I've been thinking a lot about who is this guy? Who does he remind you of? And I've heard Jesse Naylor, who's on the channel, compared him to Christian Ponder, who was a first-round pick. I like it because Christian Ponder threw 51 miles an hour, too. Christian Ponder had a messed up shoulder. That's why he had no velocity. But he actually was a better athlete than Purdy. He ran a 4.7. He was bigger.
He actually ran the read option.
Yeah. I Ted H6 on Twitter compared him to Taylor Heineke, which is another good comparison in terms of stature and arm. But Taylor Heineke's a better athlete than Purdy. He runs like a 4.6. So I got a comparison for you. Unless you want to go first, because I got one.
No, you go first, because I need my mind to jog for this one, because I never really gave it a thought.
Okay, this is my comparison for Brock Purdy. Mac Jones. And let me explain it. Mac Jones, first-round pick. He's 6'3", Brock Purdy 6'1", a little bit shorter than that. So the frame, Mac looks a little bit more like a first-round pick, but frankly, I mean, look at his body. Look at his arm. He doesn't have a strong arm. If Brock Purdy was at Alabama with those weapons, what would his numbers have looked like? I mean, he completed 72% of his throws at Iowa State. So to me, it's like a little bit smaller. He's like a junior version. He's like a junior Whopper. He's a junior Mac Jones. But I mean, in terms of like arm strength, touch, accuracy, mobility, very similar. Now, Brock Purdy never got in trouble and never did the 100 mil thing, so maybe he's a little bit more. He's more experienced than Mac Jones. Mac Jones was a 1-year starter, 1.5. Anyway, that's my comparison, Mac Jones.
That's a good one. Yeah, that is a good one. I'm trying to defer.
I felt like Mac Jones was horribly overrated. I mean, like, first-round pick. Dude,
no, 1,000%. Even at the 15th round, he's definitely was a second rounder. You don't draft first round players like that who are like so mid in terms of athletic ability and
exactly
in the first round.
Because you can find guys like Brock Purdy in the 7th round who were like runs the same 40. It's like, oh, he's just 2 inches shorter. Well, who cares? That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. Not much. And I like to think that like Kyle last year wanted Mac Jones, and they traded up, and he was like, all right, guys, we're going to take Mac Jones, and the whole organization was like, oh, how do we talk him out of this? What do we do? And Adam Peters or someone was like, all right, I got an idea. Hey, Kyle, I like Mac Jones too. He's good. But before we spend the 3rd pick in the draft on Mac Jones, I think we could get someone really similar with literally the last pick in next year's draft. And Kyle's like, who? And Adam Peters is like, Brock Purdy. And Kyle's like, who's that? And Adam's like, watch his tape. And Kyle's like, okay, I see what you mean. I'd like to think that happened because they're so similar. But what does that mean for Trey? If Kyle really does like Brock Purdy.
I honestly, I think if he does like Brock Purdy, I don't think it matters. Look, I think that's why they really look. One thing that Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers do value so much is we love the person so much. They weigh that a lot, sometimes even more than what the player can do, which is kind of like a little crazy. Look, I see it works and it doesn't. It works because
Solomon Thomas.
It keeps everyone, it keeps everyone in the locker room more like uniformed and unified. Versus like if you had like someone who's like, you know, kind of like, you know, an a-hole essentially. So versus that's why you never have player issues there in the locker room. Why do
you think Zach Wilson got just buried on that team?
Dude, as soon as Mike White, they had the whole team wearing Mike White shirts. If that wasn't indicative of how much they hate that guy, oh my god, dude, he's never.
Why do you think Baker Mayfield's bouncing around the league?
Exactly. So
no one likes him.
After that, it was.
Why do you think Jimmy Garoppolo's hanging around here like a barnacle? Because everyone likes him. Why do you think Josh Johnson just got signed by the 49ers for the 4th time?
Familiar, and
everyone likes him. Yes.
That's why I never thought Baker was ever coming, even if the Niners had a chance.
Why do you think Josh Rosen washed out of the league immediately? No one liked him.
Be that, you
can't be like that unless you are literally Aaron Rodgers.
Unless you're raw. Yeah, you have to be raw.
Unless you're super raw. And even then, it's tough. Anyway. Mac Jones. He wanted Mac Jones. They talked about a Mac Jones. He ended up getting Mac Jones the next year. And now now they really do have Trey Lance and Mac Jones competition next year coming up. Who do you like better? The guy who has literally nothing on his throws, but he's gritty. Or the guy who has a lot of velocity on his throws, but has never played football in his life? Who do you want?
I honestly thought he was comparing to me more like to Jimmy, to be honest, just a little more athletic, little more athletic Jimmy, and I think because I kind of I had that takeaway in preseason, and it's like the way he kind of stands in the pocket and just like flings it like the quick release, Like I had the Jimmy, like I don't. It's just the same. You know, Mac Jones, Jimmy, and Purdy are the same.
They're very similar.
Quarterback.
They're very similar. Yeah.
Some are more athletic than the other. All three don't have his arm. All three only like to go in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
They're all pretty much the same level. Kind of like tier.
I don't know Mac Jones' velocity because they didn't have the combine that year. It was the COVID year. So, but it just looks to me like him and Tua have nothing on their throws. Purdy, like watching Purdy and Tua on the same field, it was like, yeah, like they're both playing with a Nerf ball. Look, they're playing an NFL game with a Nerf ball. It's amazing. Ball
Remember when
dies
Tua,
at the end? Yeah.
Or when the Dolphins showed that video in OTAs or training camp of like Tua to Tyreek, and Tyreek had to backpedal. It's like, way to go, social media team. That's bad.